We are live. Good morning and welcome to healthylife.tv. My name is Paul Bursey. My co-presenter is
Warren Connolly. Good morning, everybody. Nice to see you. Nice.
Absolutely. So we're going to get straight into it today because we're busy people. So I've got a football game to go to and you've got customers to deal with. So So what are heavy metals and are they bad for your health? Now, first of all, what is heavy metal poisoning? How would you, what would you say about that, Warren?
Without trying to be scientific or too convoluted about it. That's a word I haven't used in a long time. Convoluted. So heavy metal poisoning is basically it's poisoning from metals that occur in nature naturally. All right, and it's from when we consume certain foods or drinks, or even from the air, and if you're inhaling certain metals or congesting certain metals, that poisons the system, and it will do damage on a range of different things, which we're going to cover in this call. So
yeah. So basically, we get exposed to something, we become sick, and it affects how our body works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how does the poisoning happen exactly?
How does the poisoning?
Where are we going to? What are we going to get? Where are we going to get it from?
Okay. So I mean, it can. This is unfortunately a consequence of modern society, right? Everything is polluted these days. So probably the highest source of heavy metal poisoning we experience today is through seafood or fish in general. So whether that's river fish, freshwater fish, or saltwater fish. But seafood, it's unfortunately high levels of mercury in particular from not most, but many of the seafoods that people are eating. And then on top of that, people eat canned fish as well a lot in some parts of the world. And you can get poisoning from the aluminium in the cans. So side note there, try to avoid too much consumption of foods that come in aluminium cans.
Yeah.
But also, it could be another big one today in today's society with something that's very popular today is e-cigarettes. Okay, people are thinking that they're doing society and themselves a service by using e-cigarettes, but e-cigarettes has cadmium in it, and cadmium, if you're inhaling, if you're ingesting cadmium through your food or drinks or the air or e-cigarettes, that's going to basically do a lot of damage to you in terms of things like your urinary issues, reproductive issues, skeletal issues, cardiovascular issues. So these are all toxicities that are affecting how your body works. Like you say, it's how the body actually works. It impacts that, and respiratory system as well. So this is all the knock-on effect of cadmium poisoning. And I try to tell people, the e-cigarettes are not as healthy as you think they are.
No, I know. I knew that. I didn't know to what extent, but I knew that they can't be classed as healthy.
And then even normal cigarettes as well. You've got arsenic in cigarettes. And now arsenic, if anybody knows from spy movies, spies would take arsenic to kill themselves instantaneously. Yeah. And arsenic is in cigarettes. It's actually in the cigarette butt, in the filter, arsenic. So every time you're inhaling cigarettes, you're inhaling small, minute amounts of arsenic. So it's not going to kill you now, but given over time, long period of time, if you're smoking 10, 20, 30 cigarettes a day for 20, 30 years, it's going to do a lot of damage to you from a perspective of cognitive damage.
Yeah.
It's going to cause a lot of issues with relating to your dementia diseases, Parkinson's, these kinds of things as well.
Wow. So yeah, I mean, we can also, I mean, the metals are all around us. I mean, the ground we walk on, the water we drink, or other liquids, and obviously any products that we use daily. Could be cleaning products that we haven't put gloves on. It could be anything. So it's all around us, And we know what health problems they can cause. You've gone through some of the parts of the body, that can be affected. So we have to. Do we have to watch what we eat and drink?
Naturally, even like me now, I'm drinking water out of a can. Okay, a metal bottle. Yeah, so I've got to keep this clean as well regularly, because otherwise, you get
build up.
You get build up, yeah. And then of course on top of that, you've got the very fine shavings from the degradation of the bottle itself, and that goes into your body too. So in a case like if you're drinking out of something and you're having something with you, probably the best is glass. Glass is most likely the best to use, but it's not easy to find tempered glass bottles that are not going to shatter at a flick of a finger, that kind of stuff. It's not very easy. Most people drinking out of plastics, so you're going to get poisoning from the plastic in the bottle as well. And there's metals everywhere. So you got to keep guard of yourself, but you can't be paranoid about it either. You can't get anal retentive about it to the point where you don't want to consume anything. But there are ways in which you can safeguard yourself.
Yeah, but I just made me think there. I mean, you think we take these plastic bottles or metal ones, and we take our drink with us, okay? And we're saying that probably glass is more healthy to drink out of, okay? And but they're not the type of thing we want to take when we go out, are they? So because they'll break,
I mean, look, we've got glass bottles at home that they don't break very easily. They're very tempered. It's tempered glass, and then on top of that, they come in a sleeve type of thing. But it's not that easy to carry around with you as it is a plastic bottle.
Yeah,
a plastic bottle is much easier to carry around with you. If you're going to use a plastic bottle, use it a couple of times maybe, but then after that you should get discarded, because the moment that plastic starts to degrade, it does degrade. It's not like biodegradable, but it does degrade like anything. And the moment that does, you start to get a lot of the toxicity that builds up in your water from that. Especially the moment it gets hot, it sits in the sun for any period of time. I squirm sometimes when I see people that climb into their car and they've got, especially I used to see this.
The bottle's already there in a hot day.
Yeah, and then they wait for it to cool down and they drink from them. And like, please, you're poisoning your system. Like, it's crazy what you're doing, what damage you're doing to your body.
Yeah. I change the drink every day and wash it out. When I use plastic bottles, and I keep them out of the heat, so keep them in the cool. And so we've not only got to watch what we eat and what we drink, maybe paying a lot of attention to labels and things like that, although they can be misleading as well.
Sure.
But we also got to think about what we breathe in as well, because you can get heavy metals from breathing in. Now, contaminated dust and fumes, about where you work, the environment you're in, the town you live in. It's not so bad now, but years gone by, especially in the UK and England, there were lots of towns that were based around an industry.
Yeah.
That, whether it was coal, whether it was metals and things like that. And again, you've really got to pay attention to what's happening around you,
Like in particular places like Sheffield and places like that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's lots of smaller ones as well,
Glasgow. Yeah, lots of smaller
ones.
But
they say, I don't know how true this is, but that true heavy metal poisoning is quite rare in the Western world. That's what they say. Normally everything's based on the US, and maybe because they've got loads and loads of open spaces there anyway in the US, and the UK up to a certain point. So it's really the environment you've got to look at. If you're out in the country, then you're probably not going to get too much heavy metal poisoning. Unless you.
And in any case, in the US, I mean, most of the pollutants in the air is there from coal industry in the past. Yeah. There wasn't much in terms of smelterings or smelters and these other industrial pollutants that they have in other parts of the world, as far as I'm aware. In North America and the US, it's mostly, and that was minimal as well, and most of these towns have like died out now. There's no one living in those towns anymore.
No.
So yeah, as you say, there's not a lot of influence from a industrial perspective. Maybe that's a plan of theirs,
Because the other thing we used to worry about a lot, and it's still a problem in some places, is asbestos. I know it's not heavy metal, but it's the same principle. Mm-hmm. Same principles as heavy metals,
But the thing, it's like I touched on with regards to arsenic and cigarettes, and it's the same with fish. In fish you're going to get mercury, and if people are eating game fish a lot, what I mean by game fish is like your salmon or your fish that eat other fish, the predatory fish, all right. And if they are even like tuna, for example, in the wild, you don't get farm tuna, you get wild tuna, but there's levels of mercury in them because they are predatory fish. And the moment those fish are in confined spaces, those levels of mercury are much higher in the body. Yeah. It's not going to kill you today or tomorrow. It's going to take time. And it's minute amounts of poisoning that just happens over time. So if you go to a doctor and you do testing on them, they do testing on you, the levels may not show high levels of toxicity in your body. But it's like anything. If you're out in the bush or if you're out in nature and you keep getting bitten by mosquitoes, it's not going to change your life, unless of course you got malaria. Well, they've got malaria, but it's not going to change your life. But over time, give it enough time, it gets a hell of annoying, all right? And you're going to get swelling and swelters and stuff like that, and eventually sores.
So like a toxic overload. Maybe.
Yeah, but it's not going to kill you. But what it will do is it will affect your quality of life, and this is what we're saying. It will eventually over time affect the quality of your life from a cognitive perspective, even from physical coordination. Your ability to coordinate yourself physically diminishes through heavy metal toxicity. Yeah. So, and the cognitive thing is the biggest one for me, because most people today in society, as we get older, are struggling in some level, some degree, with various forms of dementia and lack of neuroplasticity, plasticity.
Plasticity.
Yeah, but so neurodegenerative diseases, and this affects the quality of your life. It's not going to kill you necessarily, but it impacts the quality of your life.
Yeah. Because we've covered arsenic in cigarettes. You said about cadmium. Copper's another one where we get it off of old pipes. I don't know. I know now with new buildings you're not going to have that, but there's still some about with copper. You've got lead pipes and things like that are still about. Mercury with fish and
arsenic and rice.
Yeah, arsenic and rice. Also zinc as well. Another one we have to think about. That's why we've got to be a little bit careful when we come to like supplements and things like that. And of course, the one I suffer from is too much lead in my body. So I have to have. Yesterday I went and had half a litre of blood taken and thrown away, and I have to do that 4 times a year because I've got too much blood or too much lead in my blood. My body just doesn't get rid of it.
Too much blood in your lead.
Yeah, you're only supposed to keep 5% of the lead. 5% of the iron, and then your body naturally gets rid of the rest. But in my particular case, for some reason, something's not working and it doesn't get rid of it. So
something to bear in mind for you and anybody else that has issues with iron levels in your blood and things like that is bone broth. Because bone broth can be very high in lead. So you got to be cognitive of that.
It's supposed to be very healthy for you. However, something like my hemochromatosis, which is the iron thing, then you can't take bone broth. It's another one you can't really eat too much of. I I know there's certain things, if you've got something like my iron problem, they tell you not to eat too much of these things. But what I do, I have a little bit of everything, occasionally, so that I don't shut myself off from it. And that way it seems to keep the balance down.
Okay.
And I go mad on anything. But yeah, so I mean, and because the other one's aluminium as well. I don't know if that's classed as a heavy metal, but
it's a heavy. So you find that in deodorants?
Yeah, I think they've banned it now, haven't they? It's definitely in Europe.
Yeah, I think in most places it's banned in cosmetics.
When I say Europe, I meant the European Union. I don't know the other people in there. But what happens is that sometimes you think you may have some symptoms that may be from a heavy metal, and so you go searching on the internet. Well, this is one area I would say we're not to pay any or very little attention to what's on the internet, because what you want to do, if you've got any thought that you may be suffer from heavy metal poisoning, always go to the doctor and be guided by what they say, because they will send you for the right tests.
Yes,
there are a lot of waste of money tests online, detox treatments you've got to be extremely careful of, and they can be dangerous. So very, very important that you deal with a medical professional as far as this is concerned. Again, purely if just for things like the liver and also your cognitive functions.
Yeah, and you mentioned that because, and it's important. It's good, and it's important for people to take heed on that advice, because I'll give an example. I have a friend here locally here, and he's twice now he's taken this detox program. He's purchased. He buys these packs. It's a Russian product, and it has the charcoal in it.
Oh yeah,
the digestive charcoals in it, and that's supposed to be very good for helping you to rid your body of heavy metals. Ironically enough, okay.
Yeah. Right.
But I've seen him do it twice, and he's struggled, man, because he may just be high in levels of heavy metals, and the moment he starts to take a detox that releases that, it may be too much for his body, and if you're not healthy and strong enough, it can lead to a lot of complications.
It has to pass through. It has to pass through the blood.
Yeah.
Okay. Chelation. I mean, that's one that they talk about, and it's you got to be careful with these things, and but I don't know if this is good news or bad news, but not all of these metals are bad for you. We need small amounts of metals, some of them to keep our bodies healthy. Things like copper and iron. Not in my case, obviously, but in most people's cases, it is. So again, it's about balance. It's about eating varied foods and not sticking to one thing all the time. So, but how might you get heavy metal poisoning? So we've probably discussed it a little bit, but let's just sort of.
I think we've discussed it at length. To be honest,
you can get it from. There's also things like herbal medicines. Some herbal medicines have them in as well.
Okay.
So we talked about fish. We talked about breathing in maybe the old lead paint from houses. We obviously work is a big one, isn't it?
Yeah, cigarettes, aluminium, canned aluminium, foods that are canned in aluminium.
Yeah.
What else?
But again, I mean, most of them. If we're sensible, we know about most of them. It's just whether you're going to pay attention to it. With things like the fish and working in factories and other environments. And of course drinking water. We mentioned earlier. If you feel that there's anything wrong with the water you're drinking, and I'm talking about out of the tap, request a test. I think they're duty bound to test it. So
duty bound, you say?
Definitely in the UK.
Okay.
Yeah, because they can't. If you put in a complaint or a query and they don't test it, well, then it makes them liable, doesn't it?
Yeah, I got you.
If later on it can be proven.
And speaking of which, also your dentistry work as well can be
Yeah,
toxic.
I was going to come to that. Yeah,
Yeah. So
and you've got to
be
very careful of that, because actually, it can be worse taking out the metal fillings you've got to have them changed over to the white ones.
The ceramic ones.
Yeah, the ceramic ones, because it can actually cause you problems as you're taking them out. You can do it, but you've got to be extremely careful, with it. So, so it's up to you. I would research it really well. Go and speak to the dentist, see what they say,
and get the right dentist. Find the right dentist. Not just.
I don't know how you do that. I mean, it's just I don't know.
I mean, I find from a dentistry perspective, the best way to find a good dentist is referral, through referral. Dentists are one of those. That's one of those professions. It's like what we do. We benefit from referrals because people know us. People understand. They have a relationship with us. And with dentists, you have a relationship with a dentist, and you either have a good experience with a dentist or you have a bad experience with a dentist. It's not like going to a doctor. Doctors don't particularly have in-depth relationships with their clients or their
not a general purpose doctor, no.
Yeah, whereas a dentist will, more so than a GP or anything like that. But
we know why, because they're going to cause you pain. So they want you to be their friend first.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, and look, I have a classic example, like in terms of referral, the dentist as well. And I don't say this just because this happened with me, but I say find a dentist if this is the case with you, and you have metal fillings, and you're suspicious and you're concerned, and you maybe want to have them removed. Is find one that's referred to you. When I was living in the UK, dentists had a very bad reputation in the 90s. From South Africa, it's like if you're living in the UK and you have problems with your mouth, go back to South Africa. Don't get anybody in the UK to look after you. But I couldn't afford to go back to South Africa, and I kept getting an abscess in my back of my mouth, so I had to go to see a dentist. And I asked around, and I was referred to a dentist, and I went to go see this guy, and he was great. He didn't take any teeth out. He just filed my one tooth down. He shaved the tooth down. So I'm rubbing my tongue along it right now. It's one of my wisdom teeth at the back. So he didn't take it out. He said it's not necessary to take it out. I can just file it down for you, and then you'll be fine. And that was it. So rather than take it out and cause me extra pain and extra costs and all that kind of stuff, he just filed it down, and I've never had a problem since.
Which funny, last week I had a tooth out.
Okay.
And it's the first time it's ever hurt.
Oh wow! Okay.
No, I mean, look. At the end of the day, I'm being a bit of a wimp, but I mean, it was. Yeah, but I had a couple of injections, but it still hurt when they pulled it out.
Okay.
And I said, why is this the first time it's ever hurt? And he said, oh, there was bad infection on on the tooth. I went, no, it could be you didn't give me enough injections.
No, honestly, sometimes it doesn't matter how much they inject you. I've experienced that more than one occasion where it doesn't matter how much they give you, it still hurts. I had once before, the doctor actually said to me, if I inject you ever in any more, it will cause you more damage than good if I give you more. And he just said to me, you're going to have to bear the pain, unfortunately.
That's what I said. I remember a war film called Platoon, and Tom Berenger said, "Take the pain."
Yeah, take the pain.
Anyway, so there's two types of poisoning. One is acute, and that happens when you get a high dose all at one time. Bit like nuclear, a chemical accident. A child swallows a toy made from lead, something like that, And of course, the other one is obviously I can't think of the name of the other one, but chronic, and that's over time.
And that this causes really high levels of chronic inflammation in your body as
Absolutely.
well.
That's
So,
another heap of stuff to deal with.
Yeah. And if anybody's been listening to Paul and I for a period of time, you'll understand we talk about chronic inflammation a lot.
Yeah.
And heavy metals is one of the biggest proponents of chronic inflammation in your body, or causes of it. So don't. Yeah.
And also, if you're healthy, if you really follow a healthy regime, right, and includes a bit of exercise and different things like that, and it actually helps get rid of the metals.
Yeah, because you're flushing out your system a lot more by exercise.
It's working well. So that's how that's how the body works. So
as you say, as Paul says, if the only way your body's going to get rid of the heavy metals is through your bloodstream, and if you're inactive, your bloodstream is not necessarily flowing as much as it could do, and you're not getting as much oxygen in through your blood as much, and naturally keeping that flowing through a lot more efficiently. And therefore passing through your system a lot easier. But if you're exercising, it's going to benefit you. It's going to help you.
Exercising, healthy diet, dehydration, sleep, all help. So now the other thing is some of the symptoms. Now there's so many. I'm not going to go through them, but let me just give you a few. Feeling confused. Sometimes you can go numb. Sometimes you can pass out. Sometimes you can feel sick and throw up. You can get brain problems, memory loss, kidney damage, pregnancy issues. I don't want to go into them too deeply, but horizontal lines on your nails.
That's birth defects.
So it could be anything. If you've got something in your body that's not right, it's not right, and it continues. Right, because we all get things go wrong and they clear up.
Skin lesions is another one.
Problems is another one. Then make sure that you go to a doctor. Do not listen to someone on the internet unless it's a doctor talking. Unless it's a well-known doctor that you know. So, but with all these things, especially with acute. It's 999 or 911 or is it 112 in some countries? It's immediate. Get some immediate help. So don't forget, drinking water with lead can lead to cognitive problems, and as you get older, it's horrible. Also, that's why I said about testing the water. If you've got young children, it can slow their development up. So again, that's another sort of area that you want to go down. So, so is there anything else you want to say about this at the moment, Warren?
Not really. Just eat more organic foods if you can. Mushrooms and wild mushrooms in particular are good as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just avoid too much seafoods, especially canned stuff. And what else? Exercise. Get some exercise in your get moving, whether it's cycling or walking or that'll benefit you at the end of the day. Otherwise, I think we've covered what we need to cover. To be honest, Paul, I don't want to.
The only thing about tests is that they're not routine tests. Okay, they're not. I think you have to understand that. So that's why you have to pay attention to the symptoms that you've got, if you've got any. So very, very important. And then you can discuss it with you. It's like that's how I found out I had the iron problem, is by discussing a boil I kept getting on the back of my neck. You said about skin problems.
Yeah.
And then basically it took time to work it out. And in the end, we worked out what it was. Now I don't get them anymore.
Okay.
So that's it really. If you've got any questions about heavy metal poisoning, we'll research it for you if we don't know the answer, and come back and let you know. But again, go back to what I said. We aren't doctors at the end of the day, and we're trying to guide you. That's all. Okay.
Guide you in the right direction.
Right direction. So we can do that. So if you want to talk about it, let us know.
Yeah.
All right. And we finished within 30 minutes. We're good.
Yeah. Yes.
So have a great week, everyone, and show us a bit of love, like and love the video, and if you think so, and obviously you can share it with other people or direct them towards it as well, and
just a quick shout out to Brian Taylor. He says he's coming to us from his sunny garden.
I was in that sunny garden yesterday.
Oh, very nice.
So anyway,
well
great to hear from everyone, and as I say, we'll speak to you soon next Wednesday. All right, mate.
All right.
Off. Have a great
Remember,
week.
we love you, so love us.
Absolutely. See you later.